Hey guys, how are you? Hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing a review of a horror film from Israel. This is spoken in the Hebrew language, released in the year 2013, directed by Navot Papashadu and Aaron Kasheres. This movie is called Big Bad Wolves. And the story to Big Bad Wolves is as follows. A serial killer who targets little girls is on the loose. Mickey is a rule-breaking cop who thinks that a schoolteacher named Dror is the murderer. After failing to force Dror's confession, Mickey decides to extract a confession through any means necessary. However, a significant obstacle emerges on Mickey's path to justice, a man named Gidi. So the movie starts off with this serial killer who's targeting little girls. Now, the cops have no idea how to stop this guy, and the suspect is a school teacher named Dror. Now, Dror hasn't been convicted because there's not enough evidence against him. So the cop in charge of investigating these crimes is named Mickey. Now, Mickey, he's a little bit of a dodgy cop. Now, this video comes out with him trying to beat out a confession out of Dror. And because he has beaten him, and it's been on the camera, and it's been on YouTube and out in the public, the charges have been dropped. So Dror has gone free, but everybody thinks that he's done it. So Mickey is furious, and he wants to exact his own sense of justice. So he wants to kidnap Dror, and he wants to beat a confession out of him once again in order to not only catch this crook, but also clear his name. So as Mickey comes to plans with this, he realizes that there is another man named Gidi. Now, Gidi is one of the victim's fathers, and he wants Dror for other reasons. So it turns into a battle of wits as these three characters are ultimately drawn together in what is a very harrowing and very brutal experience that I'm not going to give away. So if you want to know what's in store for each character, it's something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Big Bad Wolves. Now this is a very interesting film because the same directors made another movie called Rabies. Now Rabies was billed as the first Israeli horror film, or the first film that got a wide release anyway. But I thought Rabies was a very interesting film. It had a lot of problems, but I thought it was unique. So coming into Big Bad Wolves, I was expecting something a little bit unique also, but I didn't get anything unique. Having said that, it is a very well made film. It's very entertaining. There's a little bit of black humor put into it, but it would have been a lot better if this was the first of its type. Now what I mean by that is that this is not the first time a film has come along where you've got a father and a cop wanting revenge on a so-called pedophile. 7 Days, The Tortured, and more recently Daddy's Little Girl have all tackled this subject. So when you come into this film, it's nothing you haven't seen before. Although it is very good, it feels that this is a subject matter that has been taken on very recently, and therefore you're left expecting just a little bit more from what you get from the overall piece. Now, the acting is very good. I will say that the directors have managed to get a very good cast. I thought the character of Dror, the teacher, you don't know whether or not he is a pedophile, and you get a little bit of sympathy for him because when the town catches wind that he has been investigated for these crimes, you feel that he is unfairly judged. And that is what gets you sympathy for this guy. And I thought it leaves it up to interpretation throughout the film as to whether or not he is guilty. So that uncertainty makes it makes it worth the effort, because you're thinking to yourself, this guy might not be a pedophile, and therefore he doesn't deserve what he's getting. Then you've got the other characters of Mickey and Gidi. Now Gidi is the father, and Mickey is the cop. Now the cop, it really wasn't too much to play with that character. It really centers on Gidi, the father. My problem with Gidi was the fact that there was no emotion behind him. It felt like he was a stone cold killer. Now, yes, if your daughter was brutally murdered, then you would be like that. But there was no humane quality about this guy. There was no way to relate to this person. You don't feel sorry for him because he feels like a caricature rather than a real person. So in movies like 7 Days, the Canadian French-speaking film, I thought that was an absolute masterpiece because it's very heartbreaking, because you feel sorry for this father. You feel that he's doing things that he doesn't like, but he's doing it because of his heartbreak. And the movie it raises the question of, is it okay to torture someone? When a good person has been put into a situation where they're forced to go bad. But in this movie, you never feel that. You never feel that this Giddy character was in fact a good guy. You just feel that he is a maniac, and he's no better than Dror, and he's no better than the other people who are doing despicable things. So the characters could have used a little bit more of a touch-up. I thought there was just not enough there to really care. And the other problem I have with the film was the fact that there is comedy thrown into the movie. And when I say that that's a problem, is because when it tackles such a serious subject matter, where 7 Days succeeded was the fact that it was all depressing. It was very downbeat, and it feels like the audience has no chance to get a breather. Whereas in this movie, the comedy releases the tension a little bit, and it allows the viewer to gain some comfort. It allows the viewer to breathe a little bit because it never feels like this is a real depiction of violence. It feels like it is done for the sake of entertainment, it's done for the sake of a movie, and it just doesn't have the dreaded feeling that 7 Days had. And that's what makes 7 Days such a masterpiece, was the fact that it felt like this could be you. This could be your child. But in this movie, it feels like they had the more of an entertainment approach. Yes, the subject matter is very grisly. Yes, there is a lot of very disturbing themes to the film. But unfortunately, it just felt like it was out of the realms of reality. It felt like it was a movie. Therefore, the audience wasn't as uncomfortable as they would be in other films of this nature. Now, the script is very good. I will say that although the comedy does prevent it from being what I would have thought it wanted to be, I will say that it is very funny. I laughed quite a bit. It's very dark humor. You'll be laughing at things that you really shouldn't be laughing at. I think it would have been better if it went down the more serious approach. But having said that, if you go into it wanting a film that is going to entertain you, then Big Bad Wolves will deliver. So the script was very witty. The characters, although they were caricature, I thought they were funny, and you want to see them on screen, which is the most important thing. There were a few things that annoyed me a little bit with what happens in the film, especially in the torture scenes. I thought the first time it happened it was funny, but then the second and third time I thought, okay, well, I laughed at the first time, but I'm not laughing so much in the second and third time. If you see the film, you'll know what I mean. I don't want to give anything away. I thought the violence was absolutely brutal. The torture sequences were not overdone, but when they are done, I thought they were really, it made me flinch. There was some of it that was really, really violent and very cringeworthy. So if you like your torture and you like your very disturbing subject matter, Big Bad Wolves will deliver. But unfortunately, as I said, it is a movie that you feel you've seen before. It's a movie that releases the tension valve because of the fact it does have a little bit of humor put in there. But if you go into the film expecting that, you will come away with a rewarding experience, because I thought this is a very good film. I thought it was a lot better than Rabies, but I couldn't help but feel that it should have been a lot better. So having said all that, I'm going to give Big Bad Wolves 3.5 stars. I really like the way it ended, by the way. I thought that was a neat way, and it'll make you think. So if you like this sort of stuff, Big Bad Wolves is coming recommended, but unfortunately it's not a masterpiece that I was hoping it would be, but I am very glad that I picked it up. So 3.5 stars for the Israeli horror film Big Bad Wolves is coming recommended. Alright guys, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.